A lot of people are confused about why the US is so obsessed with Greenland all of a sudden, especially why Trump and JD Vance are so into it. What could it be? Is it the Arctic passageway? Blah, blah, blah. Yes, some of it is that, sure. But the big thing that I think a lot of folks are missing is that this has been a proposed project of the network state for a really long time. What is the network state? Great question. If you're not a weird right-wing tech bro, crypto dude, you probably have never heard of this because you're just a normal person living your life. In a nutshell, it's an idea that comes from really a mix of Curtis Yarvin, aka Moldbug, who we're starting to see a bunch more stuff about. This is the sort of self-proclaimed philosopher of the alt-right tech universe. He's been embraced by Peter Thiel and Mark Andreessen, all of these guys. Not a particularly bright guy, but they like what he's saying, so they have elevated him to the level of like some amazing thought leader. He has put forth ideas like the Dark Enlightenment as well. It's this idea that tech is and has and will disrupt democracy in the same way that science disrupted religion. It's very anti-democracy. It very much puts forth the idea that democracy is sort of an old and silly idea in the same way that religion was an old and silly idea when the Enlightenment came around. So that's that whole universe of stuff. I'm paraphrasing a lot, but that's basically it. The network state grows out of a few things. There's Peter Thiel's obsession with this book called The Sovereign Individual. It was written in the late 90s. Again, very anti-democratic, very much puts forth this idea of disruption of democracy as being a necessary thing. It also leans into something called the public choice model of economics, which posits that there is no such thing as the common good. There is no such thing as public interest. Everyone is purely self-interested, and anyone who pretends otherwise is, a poser and fake and all of that stuff. They're just using that to try to get power. So that's the mindset of people like Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, JD Vance. Like that's where they're coming from. They genuinely do not believe in a common good, which is important to understand as you're trying to unpack all of the stuff that they're doing, right? Sovereign individual stuff then bleeds into Curtis Yarvin stuff, and then you get this book, The Network State. Because the culmination of this idea that democracy is silly, that sovereign individuals are all that exists, you of course end up in what if instead of countries, startups? That's the network state. It is basically a corporate startup state instead of a country. The book was written by a guy named Balaji Srinivasan. He's another Peter Thiel, Mark Andreessen dude. They think he's a genius, as you can see by these quotes that he's got here. And again, this just sort of lays out the map of like, okay, this is what's next after democracy. And in classic tech bro douche fashion, they are disrupting democracy with a very old idea. It's basically feudalism. So these corporate states, of course, have them at the top living an amazing free life and rely entirely on an underclass of serfs, people doing the work for them, people who they are surveilling 24/7 with AI, all of that stuff. Again, I know this sounds like science fiction and wildly paranoid and ridiculous, but it is actually what they're trying to do, and there are already network state projects underway. I've mentioned this website, VC Infodocs, before. It compiles a bunch of information about this stuff. This is the status of the network state page. Very, very useful. Right now, there is a project in Roatan, which is an island off of Honduras, called Prospera. It is a built, community that's ascribing to the network state philosophy. There is also a project called Praxis that is funded by Thiel, Andreessen, lots of other folks, that currently exists only as a virtual state, but has been trying to get its hands on some physical land to make it a real state. And the target of their desire has been Greenland for a really long time. Here's a story that TechCrunch ran in 2024. I went to Greenland to try to buy it. Meet the founder who wants to recreate Mars on Earth. This is about the Praxis guy trying to buy Greenland in November 2024. And then you get this guy, Ken Howery, nominated to be the ambassador to Greenland. And oh, surprise, he is part of the Peter Thiel PayPal Mafia universe. And he's really excited about buying Greenland. So yeah, when you see J.D. Vance making speeches about Greenland and being weirdly obsessed with it and like freaked out that they don't seem to be interested in being part of the US, this is what's behind it. This is the main thing that's behind it. Important to understand that and understand this mentality of like, we actually don't want countries anymore. This is why like you're seeing all of these weird economic decisions. They do want the US economy to tank. They want the dollar to tank. That helps build this crypto-based sovereign network state bullshit. That's what they're after.